Welcome back to The Blend with Chan and Kenz.
Hello, hello. We are back for another one, and I gotta say, I'm excited about this one.
Me too. We've been talking about this one, just little tidbits of what will be in this episode for a long time because there's so many good stories and anecdotes. But this episode is all about banking. So fun, right?
It may not sound like it, but we've got some funny anecdotes that we think are funny from over the years, and also some good tidbits of advice and info that we've learned.
And the episode is called Wet Sigs because, as business partners who live in different states, we often have to send each other in the mail contracts that we have to physically sign. So many banks still make you do the physical signature, not the online version, and they call it a wet signature, meaning like your hand wrote with the pen. So we always say, hey, I need the wet sig.
It cracks me up every time. And man, it's like we have to do it for just banking docs when we've opened up like line of credits, which we'll talk about more. And it's just always such a process. And then like line of credit renewals, oh my God. And like I know it's coming every year. I'm like, all right, Chase, our banker, I'm like, okay, it's time. It's time to do it. And sure enough,
Yeah.
I print them out, I sign them, I FedEx to you, you sign, we FedEx back. It's like a whole situation.
Just give me a wet sig on that one.
Oh my God, I love it. And man, yeah, we have navigated our banking relationships, I think, in a unique way. Um, don't just settle for
Yeah.
one, let me tell you.
Well, and obviously in normal life, your personal checking account, you don't have a relationship with someone at BOA, like this big bank, whoever you bank with, you don't really know somebody or you don't really need to know somebody. But for business banking, you totally can have a great relationship with your banker and they can hook it up.
Yes.
They can give you discounts, they can give you perks. And you should be looking for somebody that's offering you things. If you don't know, if you have a small business and you don't know your banker, then they're not doing a good job. There is tons of small business bankers that will incentivize you to want to bank with them.
Yes. And it's funny because I have found myself expect that kind of quality customer service in my personal banking experience. And now from like horrifying experiences in personal banking, I've actually gone to a boutique bank. So in Nashville, I bank out of Studio Bank. And it's because they have taken that mindset for personal banking. And I'm just like, Carrie, my girl, got to be able to have a chat because we've been through the ringer in our business and know like how valuable it is to have that person you can literally email, call, text if needed, which is amazing.
Yes, I still bank with Studio. My personal bank is still Studio Bank. They rock.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, I know. They're great. And I think we keep switching it up. We keep taking the perks as and it just worked out for us. But we're going to talk a lot about the things you should ask, the things you should look for, the things they'll ask you when opening a business account. Because there's a lot there and there's a lot you should be aware of. So we're just going to chat about it. It's pretty fun actually when you start to have a really good relationship with someone.
Totally. Yeah, it is pretty funny. I don't know why we got this in our head, but I think it's the way to do it. So I'm glad that that's how we navigated it. But we were like never just going to settle with just one bank. Like, of course, they want you to do everything with them. And what's really funny is I feel like this was our premonition because right before the SVB collapse, we were like, we should start diversifying our money for our business. Like, it shouldn't all just be in one account. The funniest part is that our diversification was we went to SVB, which is so funny to me, but we were at another bank, diversified with them. It was great because it ended up being good because we hadn't like really moved over a lot yet. But then after that whole experience, it really cemented the concept for us that we don't want all of our money in one place. And so then we really started thinking about, okay, where are the best offers? How can we maximize? Like, where can we maybe navigate different relationship options? Like, some banks specifically focus in sports and entertainment. Some have more corporate clients and they can open doors for you. So that was an interesting experience to have that I don't think people think about, is like how your banker can also like open the door for you too in networking.
Yeah, they should be connecting you with right people, looking at their portfolio of businesses and seeing if it would be beneficial for you to meet with any of them, and even going above and beyond and like helping find connections outside of their portfolio. Um, I think that is like a big sell of who you should bank with, is like who they're connected to and what types of people work at that bank. I mean, are customers of that bank already. Um, because they're out there selling their services, so they can take advantage of you banking there and getting your money. So that's the least they can do, is start to introduce you to other people and bring value and connections.
Totally. And talk to multiple different. It's just like finding the right realtor, finding the right lawyer, finding the right investors. Like, just as much as, you are working with them, they're working for you. And I remember even over the course of the whole time of our business, like, we've met with way more banks than we've actually moved to bank with. And you just also need to have like a good vibe check too.
Totally. Yeah. Like, they're going to be an addition of your team in a way. So see how they vibe and how they like to be communicated with. Like, for example, I'm down to text. Like, I don't mind if something's urgent, text me. Actually, honestly, my current banker like texts me too much to where I'm like, all right, this could have been an email. Like, this, I don't need to see this
Oh
right
my
now.
God, that's insane.
But he's like a young guy and we are friends, so it's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not if it actually was too much, I'd be like, all right, dude, email me. But um no, it's definitely more of like, it really is, it's always like for opportunities though. It's not like, hey, I need you to sign this or fill this form out. It's actually like, hey, you should come to this event. I think you're going to meet some cool people.
That's
Or,
awesome.
hey, I have tickets to something. You want them? I'm like, yes. So I'm not actually annoyed.
That's what we're looking for. Like, that level of service is awesome. And I want to talk a little bit about what are some of the things that we have worked with on our bankers that maybe is, just additional, or maybe people don't always think about when they're thinking about banking. But like, for example, I'm still so grateful. We were working with an incredible banker at the time at our first bank. And I won't say names just right now with these, just because, but it was like we had really developed a relationship, and, he had gotten really well, introduced to our business, understood what we were doing. And he actually helped us get approved for a line of credit really at the first start of our business. And what was amazing is, because their bank specifically had an entertainment division, we would not have gotten approved for the line of credit that we did get. And it was like having that relationship, having that rapport. He went like the extra 10 miles to like meet with the auditors with us, to sit down, to explain our business model, because it's so non-traditional. And then that got us the line of credit, which then was so huge, and the pandemic then happened. And like, before PPP came into line, which he also like was texting me day in, day out, getting us PPP, helping us survive. Like, that was our banker helping us survive during the pandemic, like not others. So that just whole experience was amazing for them to have given us that opportunity with a line of credit to start.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, he was telling us things we should be applying for, grants, also explaining what this big contract meant. It's pretty intimidating to sign contract for a line of credit, especially when you're like personally
Mm-hmm.
guaranteeing things. It's scary. So the fact that he was like, this is what's the worst thing that could happen there. This is what really happens when this goes down. This is your risk. This is, this is where we're going to start to care. And then, just making it really easy for us to understand and know what we're signing. And there was that level of trust there, which is really nice. It never felt like, oh, we're just being sold and this person doesn't actually care what happens to us. They just want their commission. It was definitely like a relationship that we built that we really that meant a lot to us.
That's a great point. And also, it really shows the value of looking for a bank that has a niche division that you fit within. Just because, too, something that was so amazing about what they did in this entertainment division, and I know like there's sports divisions and technology divisions and other kinds, but like they were even finding ways to get entertainers approved for line of credits for tour and giving entertainers loans and pre-approved credit cards. And it's like, it's just so cool to be in that environment where people get it when in such a traditional financial institution setting that's not normally the case.
Yeah, I know. It's been so cool to work with music and entertainment specific bankers because they know that it's like how those finances are transacted and how different
Mm-hmm.
it is from real estate or other industries. So that's cool too. There usually is at a lot of banks there might be a division of your industry that you could look into, but always for sure make sure that the bank you are going with, if you're a small business, has a small business division. I would say that's like the most important thing because they're thinking, okay, fundraising,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to connect you to investors, or I know that these are going to be the average woes of a small business, so I'm going to like help alleviate those things. I think that's been a huge help for us, is like knowing someone that knows our
Mm.
size to predict some things that we may need.
Such a great point. And I feel like that really leads in well to a part of banking that we were not thinking about when we first got started was the integration and technology innovation at banks and how that varies. Because as a business that transacts, we do a ton of transactions and payments a month with our entertainers. It's really important, which we then learned, to have a bank that understands that like high volume transaction, ACH payments, and just being able to integrate with them. We've had so many conversations now with different banks about like how can we scale this, and maybe you can speak to that, Ken, since that's been like a big piece of this next bank that we're working with, really hand in hand on.
Yeah, with our current bank, we use their whole software to pay out all of our vendors. So all of the entertainment that we book is possible to automate that process through our bank. Like they had the technology that we could use their API, sync it up with Eva, make it really easy for us to pay all of our vendors within the same day too. That was a huge thing, is we needed to be able to make these payments quickly and not wait 5 days because our entertainers have already performed. They're already taking the risk of not getting any money ahead of time, so we need to get it to them as soon as possible the next day. So that's something we promise, is we'll get that money to them the following business day, and they were able to do that, which is
Yeah,
great.
that's huge.
um,
Because we've seen
yeah, it
tons
really
of banks
is.
not be able to do that, which is crazy.
Not even close. And the other part is that it's a good price too. Like there are services where we can make those payments quickly, but it's like $10 per payment or something. That's not going to work for us as a marketplace who's only taking a percentage of each transaction. It needs to be tiny. So they like worked with us to come up with this. We do, yeah, we do a lot of transactions, but each transaction isn't necessarily a ton of money that we're going to keep. So we need that to be really slim.
Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that like now it's my as we grow, I'm still looking for it is like the bank that really has that innovative approach to technology. I think like we're still making it work. Like, here's our disruptive technology and we're making it work with yours. We've had some exciting conversations about like how can we grow our offerings with a bank. So we're always looking. We love our current banks, of course. We diversify because can't be having a collapse like the last one. But I'm excited to see if we can like keep building on what we have right now.
Totally.
And then the one of the other things that I just found that no one told us about, which they like did but they didn't in ways that like I don't know, maybe it's my fault for not understanding, but like the real value of a money market account for a business. Like, we are holding significant money in escrow, and you can get like 5% in a money market, and we also like shopped around to find the best rate, and it's like we could have been making so much on that, and obviously that's on us, but also like that should be like the first thing people are bringing up. Some bankers since have been like, hey, you should really have a money market account, seeing like the numbers in the account. But still, I feel like that should be like day one, open that up for a business owner.
Yeah. Yeah, we just did not even know what that was for a long time. So we just literally had a checking account with like hundreds of thousands of dollars
Like, Jesus.
sitting in there. Yeah. No, we honestly have probably wasted a lot of money just like letting it
I
sit.
know.
And like, I feel dumb because we've learned this now with our personal finances, like obviously invest.
Yes.
Took some time to learn that and kind of just like figure it out on our own. But same with money. We have more money in the bank account than we do in our personal. So
Yeah.
probably should invest that.
Exactly. And I think too, like, you know, we obviously, to an extent, I think it was good at the beginning. We kept it simple. We were like, we are not messing with this, escrow over here. But there's just so many ways to make your money work for you. And like, I even remember the first time we heard about how Starbucks does it. Like, still, to me, one of the most brilliant
Yeah,
business
love that.
models to date, where everyone obviously does a charge card on their Starbucks app. So Starbucks is just holding like $25 a person. It's like billions of dollars, just making so much money for them in interest in their money market. And like, we essentially are doing that baby version. Like, we are holding this money, not touching it. Why not make money off of it? And so I think working with a really savvy banker to sit down and explain, here's how my business model works, and ask the question. I wish we had really laid it out for them, and instead of just been like, where should we hold the money? It's how can we make our money work for us, is something I wish I had asked at the beginning.
Yeah, agreed. We just didn't know what questions to ask, though. I mean, hindsight's 2020,
For sure.
but you'd think they would want to tell us because they're making money off of us too.
Totally. It is hilarious. I do love this new bank relationship you've developed for us in Austin. They just crack me up. And I'm like, this is how bankers should be. Like, I feel like they're like hitting you up being like, want to go to Celine Dion? I'm like, that's awesome.
I mean, it was a pretty easy sell, honestly, when the concert tickets started flowing. I was like, "Oh." And I remember I went out with them and the bankers, and they were courting a new small business, brought them to this concert. I went as well. They have like a suite at
Nice.
this venue. It's amazing. And I was like, oh, y'all are getting in on this even before you sign with the bank. So you guys are really doing it right.
Dang.
That's what I should have been doing, is like really shopping it around.
Court
And
me.
um, yeah, no, I mean, a freaking bank. Like,
Totally.
that's how what we've now learned is like they work for you.
Yes.
So make it work.
So, like, sorry to call out my dad, Rod, in doing this wrong, but it's like so the old way. So, I gotta just comment. So, he just recently opened a bank account for his business, and he told me, he was like, oh, yeah, I just went to Bank of America and opened up an account. I was like, God, why did you do that? Like, no,
I know.
don't do that.
Especially in like biochem, the amount of money he'll probably end up raising is like significant.
Exactly.
He would probably get some great
I
offers.
know.
He should still
I was
try.
like, I'm gonna have to sit down with him on a Sunday and talk to him about this, or maybe just send this pod to him and be like, okay, go listen to this. But no, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
People just, you don't realize, like, you're so used to just like what the standard personal banking experience is like. Oh, I just open a Chase bank account and that's
right.
that. No, not like that for business.
I was recently on a panel for bankers. Like it was a conference of banks talking about whatever banks talk about. And they wanted a small business panel to see what things small businesses wanted to, needed from banks so they could appeal to them and market to them and kind of learn about how to like get that business. So it was super interesting to see like what they still value. Like some banks still are so old school. They're like, well, we have 18 branches. And I'm like, I don't know the last time I walked in, Joe. Like, I don't need, the branch is not my number
Oh,
one. Maybe when I need to make a big deposit or something, like,
yes.
you have to. But I was like, there's so many other things that are valuable, like the technology or just being able to give me like custom quotes on something, like work with my business model to make it worth it for me. Obviously, a money market account, like getting a good rate. There's all this stuff that it's, um, each type of business is different of what they need and what they look for, and some banks are like not gonna get it. I think we've always had success with the small to mid sized banks just because they will work with us, whereas like the massive
Yeah.
guys are just not even gonna like call us back.
Totally. Yeah, it even makes me think like something I love so much about Studio Bank is they've taken the lane and focus of actually being an entrepreneur focused bank, which is really cool. Like they've even, shout out Phil Schmerling, have found a way to really do entrepreneur like founder line of credits. Like if you don't have a business model yet fully up and running, like they have ways to really support you even in the beginning stages, which can be so hard, like we first talked about, in getting like that line of credit. So that's so cool. And it's like it tends to be the case for, like you said, the SMB focus banks. Like they're just going to be more aligned with a startup naturally. My qualm with the bigger banks, dude, I don't get it, but it's like, okay, we are a bank sending we're a bank. Maybe we will be one day, but we are a company sending large transactions. Can my deposit check limit be higher than an individual? Like that
Yeah,
kills me. I'm like, oh my God, please, but hey, it's okay.
I know. I've thought the same thing. And uh, we have two banks. At one of them right now, I will just ask. I'll be like, raise it, and they will.
So
Um,
nice.
but but it like has never been easy, or it always just starts. It's so low. It's like 20K or something. Where like, don't you want
To
me?
deposit
Or
more.
even yeah, that like receiving money. I'm like, I can't deposit a check for this bigger than
Yeah,
this. Like, you don't want more money. I never understood. I'm sure it's a security
yeah.
thing, but like,
I have to
what?
go to the bank
Hello,
after this
I'm
because,
bringing you
yeah,
cash.
literally. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, use the Austin one if you ever have big
All
ones, because
right.
that one's up to like 100K now.
Woo! Okay. What have I been doing with this other one? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving over. Good. Man.
Yeah.
And just to bring it back to the wet cigs, it just kills me. Like that, I don't know, maybe that's like our new band name or something, but it
Love it.
just really encapsulates this topic so well.
It's just so old school. So old school. Like I get it. It's I don't know, but I feel like physically signing something and sending it in the mail, how is that actually more secure than like a digital encrypted
Yeah.
contract? I don't like I'm like, it could get lost in the mail or opened, or someone could have faked that. Like,
Totally.
I don't know. I just feel like get with the times.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't admit what I did once.
Do do admit.
One time, you and I obviously got your consent. I talked to you about it, but one time we had to get our line of credit approval, but because they forgot that we lived in different states, they didn't give us enough time to send it to you and send it back. And so I was like, Kenz, I mean, I got to put your signature down. And you're like, do it. I was like, okay.
Sign it.
I was like, sorry.
Totally.
Luckily,
Yeah, no, I don't care.
they don't know which bank we're talking about, so you'll never know.
I know, right? It could be you.
Could be you. Sorry. Oh my God.
I consent. I consent to the signing of my name. You don't have to ask, honestly, next time. Just go for it. I trust
I've gotten
you.
that M and that S down in the K.
Yeah.
All my
Yeah, I worked on that hard in like 7th grade and have kept it ever
dang,
since.
it looks great. It's a great sig. That's a great wet sig.
Oh.
I wish I could do it as well.
Nice. No, I like yours.
I've got my mom's down still so well from signing my practice logs as a kid for violin. I've got that one down pat.
Like you had to sign off to her, or
Well, I would pretend I practiced the amount I was supposed to, and then I would sign my mom's name as like
oh, like she was supposed to tell your like violin teacher that you did. Oh wow. Oh, I love it.
Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Anne. Oh man, I'm not a degenerate. Okay, it was just.
And you're still good at the violin, so
Hey, you know,
you're good. It worked out.
You know, I feel like this is a snapshot of our bank experience, and from here, who knows where we'll go, but we just knew we had to talk about these things in this episode.
Yeah, dropped a couple tips for those searching for the bank, but also some stories along the way. There's always some things to be said with working with like big industries like that have been the same for so long. It's kind of, even the new ones though that come up, they're like, we're a cool bank. I'm like, no, you're not. Yeah, you still have like the drive-through ATM. I'm like, do something different one of these days. Someone do something really different and I'm sold. I will switch it up again.
That is so funny, but we're cool.
We have nice mints, or like whatever their like thing is. It's
Oh my
like,
God.
I'm like, it's not a selling point for me.
Maybe we pitch an idea that like one of them needs to almost become a bank that's like a nightclub. Like you come in and it's just a party. Get a drink.
I mean, nighttime hours would be great. Like, hello, a bank that doesn't close at 5.
Dude.
I'm sold. Innovation.
Literally. Okay, talk about this. I have to go to the bank after this, go figure, because it's a Friday afternoon and I have these checks I have to go and get deposited before end of Q2 because I can't deposit them on the app. Forever the woe. But hey.
That's what we need. Hey, maybe Eva will pivot.
Yeah, honestly, banking for artists.
Take over.
We're here for it. Who knows?
You know, you never know. You never know.
You never know. Well, I like this short and sweet. We gave the facts, we gave the stories like you said. And
no one needs to hear that much more about financial institutions, honestly, so I think we're good to wrap.
until next time.
Later.